Hi guys, it's Katrina here. I thought I'd make a video going over stocks that made huge gap downs due to having bad earnings because I've had a couple questions about those kind of stocks, and I just wanted to show you how I handle those kind of stocks that make huge gap downs. I usually wait for the dust to settle and wait for some kind of setup. That way I can make a trade off of it. But I do want to let you know that I don't play earnings. Earnings is like a 50-50 chance to me. It'll either go up or it goes down. I have no idea. So I, as a trader, do not play earnings. I wait for the earnings to happen, and then just to see the move that happens. It's either a huge move up or a huge move down. I wait for the chart to digest that move, and then I look for a trade. So that's what I'm going to go over with today. And the first stock I'm going to look at is Disney. Looks like Disney had bad earnings, had a huge gap down. And usually when that happens, it's usually well out of the lower Bollinger Band. And like I always say, when something's well out of the lower Bollinger Band, see over here, it fights to get back in that lower Bollinger Band. So that's all that happened that first day, is that this hammer candle, that's all it's doing, is trying to get back into this lower Bollinger Band. And then as each day goes by, like the lower Bollinger Band catches up to price. And so the first day it gapped way down, looks like around 158, lower 158s, and then pulled all the way back up almost to the lower Bollinger Band area, just to go right back down the next day. I've seen this happen many times. Like people will get like caught off guard because they're like, oh my god, it was all the way down here, and it made it all the way back up here, so that's bullish. But all it's doing is trying to get back within that lower Bollinger Band, and it can easily just make a move going right back down, and that's exactly what Disney did. So I do watch for this whenever they make a huge gap down. And pretty much, this is just the chart digesting this huge move. The lower Bollinger Band is trying to catch up to price. Look at the 13 EMA. It's way up here. Like, that's got to come down more. And eventually, when something makes a huge move down like this, it's eventually back tests this 13 EMA. But look how high this 13 EMA is up here. Like, this is going to take some time to digest. And usually what it does is it chops sideways to downward until allowing this lower Bollinger Band to come down, allowing the 13 EMA to come down more. And that's whenever you can kind of make a move for the 13 EMA, make a trade for the 13 EMA backtest. Now I'm not exactly sure, like as you can see, I don't see any support here on my daily. This is my daily, so I would go up here to my weekly to see if I can find some support. And as you can see, there's no support underneath, on the weekly, except for this weekly 200 EMA, which is around 141s, and I highly doubt it gets there anytime soon, if it does even get there. So then I would go to my monthly to see if I can find some, close support. And there it is. I have a monthly mid Bollinger Band at 154s as support. So I would go up here and I would click on my dollar line, and I would make this, support line, and then go back to my daily, and there's my support line right there. So that would be some support. If it gets down there, it might not get down there, but that's that monthly mid Bollinger Band is pretty strong. So if it could go easily like head down a little more. I don't know. It might just spike down there. It might not. It might just go sideways, and I don't know. But 2 candles isn't enough for me. I mean, you can play this, but good luck. Like, I'm not that good. I usually wait for some kind of setup, some kind of trend line or falling wedge or something for it to break out of a triangle, something. I mean, look at the stochastics too. It's racing down. Like the stochastics down here is not showing me any kind of bottoming process. The MACD is just digesting this move too. It's not showing me any kind of bottoming process. So let's go ahead and go to, we can look at Peloton. Peloton's had a couple more days to digest its move. And, as you can see, it gapped down hugely too. Look at the lower Bollinger Band on this one. This one's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, as Disney only had 2 days. So look at the lower Bollinger Bands. Already, it's already past price. So price is within the lower Bollinger Band, but it's well pointing down. Look at the 13 EMA. The 13 EMA is like really far still from price. So this still has some time to get, like, still time to die. I think it needs more time to digest. I have some kind of alert there. So anyways, I have no support down here. I know what this alert is now that I think about it. I have no support on this daily, so of course I go to my weekly. I have no support on my weekly either down here. So guess what? I go to my monthly. Like, this is how I do it. This is how it works. And there's that alert. I remember I posted this chart. It's the monthly 200 EMA. Now, I don't know if it'll get there or not, but that is some good support. It could, it's showing 38.93. It could hit like 42. Like, sometimes they like fake you out with like a $2 miss. That's how they or algorithms, play it. But that would be support right there. So that's why I marked that I have it as an alert. So then I go back to my daily, and that's where my alert is. Like, that could take a while because this seems to be holding right here, but I don't know. It could go down. It could go down more. Anyways, I do have a little trend line here. So that's what I do. I try to find trend lines or a falling wedge or triangle or something. So if this price ended at 49.22. So then if it would break out of, this trend line, I'd really kind of stretch that out. It would probably be like around, 51s or something. It would be a breakout of this trend line. So that would be heading in the right direction to back test this 13 EMA. But look how, that's still so far away. Like, I still think it needs more time to digest. Look at the stochastics. Stochastics has flatlined. And I always say when it's, I tell you guys this, that's very bearish when the stochastic has flatline. You need some kind of pulse, and usually a pulse to go up, So yeah, this usually when like a huge move down, or gap down, it usually goes down to sideways, like chop sideways downward until, allowing the 13 EMA to come down lower. So that's Peloton. And then let's go ahead and show Snap. We all know Snap had bad earnings too. And Snap's had 2 weeks now to digest, that move. Unfortunately, hasn't had like a really good move. I didn't play it at all. Anyways, made the huge move down, look well out of the, the lower Bollinger Band. Kind of a little went sideways here, allowing the lower Bollinger Band to catch up. Look at the 13 EMA. So this is what you're looking for. This has already had like 2 weeks. This is what you're looking for Peloton or Disney. Like, you're looking for the 13 EMA and, the lower Bollinger Band, like, to catch up to price. It looks like I got some support around 51.25. Is not broke that. But like right here, I know I had put a trend line. It broke out of it here. I had a good day here, and this is where it looks like it's going to back test the 13 EMA. Look at, and it moves up, but it doesn't quite touch it. There's many times where I've missed the back test because it misses it by like $1, or some cents or something. That's what happens. It makes a huge, or gaps down, makes a huge move down to back test the 13 EMA. And then it either like breaks it and closes above it, or it loses it, keeps going down. If it were to break it here, if it were to close above it, it would went up to the mid Bollinger Band. But it looks like it might need more time to digest. Like, look how high, or far apart these Bollinger Bands are from price. Like, they need more time to catch up. And then, look at the MACD. The MACD did cross. Like, I usually have to like drag it out right here to really see if it crossed. It did cross, which is, that's good. So it's showing me some kind of, maybe some bullish momentum getting close. The stochastics, though, I drew in my 50 line here, and it's turning before it, so it needs to break that 50 line. If it could break that 50 line, it would probably back test this 13 EMA. And if it can break this 13 EMA, you know, go up to the mid-Bollinger Band. But you know, this, I just want to show you snap how it's had plenty of time to digest this huge move down. Like, it's plenty of time for the lower Bollinger Band to get back within it, to catch up to price. The 13 EMA is catching up to price. Like, that's what happens. That's where Disney's gonna head. That's where Peloton. That's how these moves work. Also over here, I want to show you snap. Looks like when they had good earnings, I guess back in July, look, it gapped up. So it gapped up, and then what did it do? It pulled back to the 13 EMA. What does this do? This gaps down, and what does it do? It pulls back to the 13 EMA. Now that's like a way bigger, you know, huge move compared to this one. That's what happens with in these either gap up or gap downs. They eventually back test their 13 EMA. And you get to kind of see a little, you know, sometimes you can get a little trade setup here. Like this one, you know, I could draw a trend line here that it broke. Right here it broke. I mean, it didn't do much here, but it broke it. You could make a trade there. But yeah, I try to look for these like trend lines for breaks. Trend line, if this one would break, you know, maybe Monday or so, you know, 55s. I mean, you're not going to get a huge move there, but back test this 13 EMA. But yeah, that's Snap. That's how, you know, that works on Snap. And then I had Twilio, TWLO. Now Twilio, really, I was watching that one, man. It didn't set up for nothing. It went straight to the 13 EMA, guys. So you had this, you know, huge gap down, look out of the lower Bollinger Band, and what does it do? It's fighting to get back within, but it doesn't even go sideways like all the other ones were going sideways. So it just went straight up to that 13 EMA. Like, darn it! Like it didn't give me any like trend line. Like you know, like this is not like trend lines are like you need at least 3 touches, guys. 3 touches for a trend line. If you get 3 or more, if you need at least 3, but if you get 4, you know, more, the more touches, the stronger the trend line. And there's like no 3. Like I don't do 2s. Like this would be like a 2 touch. Like, you know, touch this candle. Like this one's, it's above it, you know, like that's 2 touches. So this one did not give me any move. It went straight up. It just went, sorry, it went straight up. How do I cancel it? Went straight up to back to this 13 EMA. But that's like, you know, huge gap down to back to this 13 EMA, which it failed. Like it did not close above it. So what happens? It lost it. Like, look, I did find this, you know, make this trend line. So it would have either gone, it would have, you know, this day right here would have closed above the 13 EMA, you know, stayed above this trend line, but it didn't. It lost the trend line and went down. But that is a back test of the 13 EMA. Like, you know, huge gap down, straight, and it just went straight to back test 13 EMA. So that's a little, you know, that's a little bit of a different one. God, I wish that one would have set up. I was really watching Twilio for a good setup for the back test of the 13 EMA because I play that trade. But it just moved too quickly. It had no good setup. But, you know, that is, I mean, that most of the time they end up looking like Snap or, you know, Peloton, like they make a, you know, they gap down and make a slow move over, and then they back test the 13 EMA. But Twilio just went straight for it. So yeah, I hope this helps you out. You know, really what you're looking for is like anytime they make a huge gap down from bad earnings or maybe some bad news, you kind of wait for the chart to digest that move. Usually with the lower Bollinger Band, you know, it has to get within the lower Bollinger Band or catch up to, you know, lower Bollinger Band has to catch up to price. Also, your 13 EMA needs to catch up to price, but there's always a back test. Like price will eventually back test the 13 EMA. Like on Snap, like it should back test this 13 EMA here soon, but it's not a huge move. Like, look, there's not. I mean, it's. I don't even know if it's worth a trade. I'll be waiting for the close above the 13 EMA to play the the move to the mid Bollinger Band. But we can go back to Peloton. Peloton would be a good one. I think this 13 EMA needs to come down more, but Peloton might be a good one. Give you a couple dollars. But this is, and usually what happens is the 13 EMA will start to flatten out here. Like once it gets to, as you saw on Snap, it starts to flatten out. So that's what I'm looking for on Peloton. Peloton's a good one. I'll be keeping my eye on Peloton. Plus Peloton's showing me a flat line. So once that shows a pulse there, that's a good sign. I think it needs a little more time to allow this 13 EMA to come down more. But I would be watching for Peloton, and I guess also Disney. Disney needs, needs more time. Maybe we get, look how high, look at this 13 minutes, barely below the mid Bollinger Band. It totally needs to come down more and go sideways. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Disney, but I'll be watching that one. I hope this guy helps you guys out with, stocks that have bad earnings and make huge gap downs. Like what happens next? And I'm showing you what happens. It usually just takes some time to digest, and it will eventually backtest this 13 EMA. So I hope this helps you guys out. And if you have any kind of questions, feel free to reply to my tweets, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.